Alright, let's talk cars. Specifically how you get your hands on one. It's a big decision, isn't it? Choosing how to pay for your next motor can feel like navigating a maze blindfolded after too much fizzy pop. You've got your hard-earned cash and a desire for something shiny on the drive. The question is, what's the cleverest way to make that happen? It's not just about the monthly payments. There's a whole world of deposits, interest rates, and future values to consider. Getting it wrong can be a costly mistake. Today we're going to demystify the whole process. We'll lay out the main routes you can take to get into a new car, making it all clear. We're going to look at 3 main ways to acquire a vehicle: buying it outright with your own money, using a car loan, or opting for a lease deal. Each one has its own set of twists and turns, its own advantages, and its own potential potholes to watch out for. Understanding these options is absolutely crucial. It's like knowing the difference between understeer and oversteer, vital if you want to stay on the black stuff. One method might suit your mate down the pub perfectly, but it could be entirely wrong for you, your budget, and how you plan to use the car. We're talking about significant sums of money here, so a bit of knowledge can save you a packet in the long run. We want you to drive away happy, not feeling like you've been taken for a very expensive ride by some slick salesman in a shiny suit, so buckle up. We're going to dissect each method. We'll talk about what it means for your wallet, who actually owns the car, and what happens when you fancy a change. By the end of this, you'll be armed with the knowledge to make an informed choice, a choice that puts you firmly in the driver's seat of your car buying journey. No more confusion, no more scratching your head in the dealership, just clear, straightforward advice. Let's get started, shall we? This is going to be good. Now, to make sense of all this financial wizardry, we need a benchmark, a common denominator if you will, something solid and desirable that we can use to compare these different purchasing methods. So, let me introduce our star car for today's comparison, a rather smart, brand new Acura MDX. Let's imagine it has a price tag of a neat $50,000. It's a popular car, stylish, well-built, the sort of thing many people aspire to park on their driveway. It's a good solid choice for our little experiment, representing a typical new car purchase for many families or individuals looking for a bit of premium quality. To keep things consistent when we look at the financing options, we're going to assume a few things. First, for any deals that require a deposit, we'll put down 15% of the car's price. For our $50,000 Acura MDX, that works out to a respectable $7,500. This is a fairly standard deposit level, giving us a realistic starting point. It's the kind of sum you might have saved up, or perhaps it's the trade-in value of your old banger. Either way, $7,500 is our initial contribution for the finance plans. Furthermore, we're going to look at all these options over a typical 3-year period. 3 years is a common length for car finance agreements and leases. It's also a point at which many people start thinking about changing their car again, perhaps as the manufacturer's warranty is coming to an end, or simply because they fancy something new and shiny. This time frame allows us to see how the costs stack up over a reasonable ownership or usage cycle, giving us a fair comparison of the total expenditure involved in each method before deciding what to do next. So, there you have it. One shiny $50,000 Acura MDX, a $7,500 deposit ready to go where needed, and a 3-year horizon. These parameters will be our trusty toolkit as we delve into the nuts and bolts of buying outright, hire purchase, and leasing. By using the same car and the same initial conditions, we can really highlight the financial differences and help you see which path might be the most sensible for your circumstances. Keep these figures in mind as we explore each option in detail. This is where the real comparison begins and the numbers start to tell their story. First up, the most straightforward method of them all, buying the car outright. This means walking into the dealership or clicking online and paying the full $30,000 for our Honda Accord in one go. No monthly payments, no interest charges, no finance agreements to sign, just a simple transaction, and the car is yours. Keys in hand, V5C document in your name, that lovely new car smell all to yourself. It sounds wonderfully simple, doesn't it? And in many ways it truly is. You own it from day one, lock, stock, and barrel. The biggest advantage, of course, is that you owe nothing to anyone. There are no finance companies breathing down your neck, no interest accruing, and you have total freedom. Want to sell it next week? You can. Want to modify it with go faster stripes and a massive spoiler? Go right ahead, it's your property. Psychologically, this can be very appealing. That feeling of complete ownership is a powerful one. You've worked hard, saved up, and now this gleaming piece of engineering is entirely yours. No strings attached, just pure, unadulterated ownership. It's a satisfying thought for many. However, there's a flip side to consider: the dreaded depreciation. Cars, especially new ones, lose value the moment they drive off the forecourt. Our 30,000 Honda Accord, after 3 years of happy motoring, might only be worth, say, $17,500 if you decide to sell it. That means it has cost you $12,500 in depreciation alone. That's a hefty chunk of change. Then there's the opportunity cost. That $30,000 you spent could have been invested elsewhere. Perhaps in the stock market, in property, or even in a high-interest savings account, potentially earning you a return over those 3 years. So while buying outright means no interest payments, the actual cost of having that car for 3 years is that $12,500 depreciation. Plus running costs, of course, but we're focusing on acquisition. If that $30,000 could have made you, say, $5,000 invested over 3 years, then the real cost feels more like $17,500. It's something to think about. For those with the available cash, it offers simplicity and freedom, but it's crucial to weigh up that immediate large outlay against the car's falling value and what else that money could be doing for you. It's a big initial hit to your savings. Next on our list is a vehicle payment plan agreement, or simply car loan. This is a more traditional way of financing a car, and it's quite straightforward. You pay a deposit, like our $4,500 for the Honda Accord, and then you borrow the remaining amount from a finance company. In our example, that means borrowing $25,500. You then repay this loan, plus interest, in fixed monthly installments over an agreed period, which we've set at 3 years. Once you've made that final payment, the car is all yours. Ownership automatically transfers to you. It's a well-trodden path to car ownership. For our $30,000 Honda Accord with a $4,500 deposit, let's say the interest rate is just under 11%, as some examples suggest. This would lead to monthly payments of around $810 for those 3 years. Now that's quite a significant monthly outgoing. Over the 36 months, your total monthly payments would amount to $29,160. Add your initial $4,500 deposit to that, and the total amount you've paid to own the Honda Accord comes to $33,660. So you've paid an extra $3,660 in interest compared to buying it outright, which is the cost of borrowing the money. The main pro of hire purchase is that you are working towards owning the car outright. Every payment you make builds your equity in the vehicle. At the end of the term, there's no big final balloon payment to worry about, unlike some other options we'll discuss. You simply make your last monthly payment and that's it. The car is yours to keep, sell, or part exchange as you wish. If you're the type of person who likes to keep their cars for a long time, well beyond the finance period, then car loan can be a very sensible option. However, the monthly payments on car loan are generally higher than with leasing. This is because you're paying off the entire value of the car, plus interest, over the term. If our Honda Accord is worth $17,500 after 3 years, and you've paid $33,660 in total, your net cost of motoring for those 3 years, if you then sell it, is $16,160. This is more than the $12,500 depreciation if you bought outright, ignoring opportunity cost, primarily due to the interest charges, but you did spread the cost, which is often the main appeal. Leasing life forever new, never yours. Now let's shift gears and look at leasing, or personal contract hire as it's formally known. This is fundamentally different from a car loan because you're essentially renting the car for a long period. You make an initial payment. Let's stick with our $4,500 for the Honda Accord to keep comparisons similar, though lease deals often structure this differently, perhaps as 3 months upfront or similar. Then you make fixed monthly payments for the duration of the contract, say 3 years. At the end of the agreement, you simply hand the car back. There's no option to buy it. The monthly payments for leasing are calculated based on the car's expected depreciation during the lease term, plus fees and interest for the leasing company. For our $30,000 Honda Accord, with that $4,500 initial outlay, the monthly payments could be somewhere around $345 over 3 years. So, over the 36 months, you'd pay $12,420 in monthly installments. Add the initial $4,500, and your total expenditure over the 3 years comes to $16,920. This is often one of the cheapest ways to drive a brand new car, especially if you like changing vehicles regularly. The big appeal of leasing is those lower monthly payments compared to a car loan. You get to drive a new car, usually covered by the manufacturer's warranty for the entire period, meaning fewer worries about unexpected repair bills. When the contract is up, you just give it back and can then lease another brand new car. It's hassle-free in that sense. No concerns about selling the car or its future value. You just need to make sure you stick to the agreed mileage allowance and keep the car in good condition to avoid extra charges at the end. The main downside, of course, is that you never own the car. All those payments you've made are purely for the use of the vehicle. At the end of the 3 years and $16,920 spent, you have nothing to show for it in terms of an asset. You walk away and have to start again if you want another car. There are also usually strict mileage limits, and going over them can incur hefty per-mile charges. Similarly, any damage beyond fair wear and tear will also cost you when you return it. It's great for predictable motoring costs, but not for building ownership. The big numbers game, a costly comparison. Right, let's get down to brass tacks. We've explored the different ways to get our 30,000 Honda Accord. So now it's time to line them up and see how the costs compare over our 3-year period. This is where you can really see which option might hit your wallet the hardest, or perhaps the softest, depending on your priorities. We need to be clear about what we're measuring, the total cash outflow, and what you're left with at the end. It's not always a simple case of the lowest monthly payment being the best overall deal, you see. First, buying outright. You spend $30,000 on day one. After 3 years, if you sell the car for an estimated $17,500, your net cost is $12,500. This doesn't include any potential earnings that $30,000 could have made if invested, but in terms of pure cash spent versus cash recovered from the car itself, it's $12,500. This is, on paper, the lowest net cost if you plan to sell, assuming you have the capital up front and are comfortable with the depreciation risk. It's simple, direct, but requires that big initial outlay. Next, a vehicle payment plan agreement. You pay a $4,500 deposit and then 36 monthly payments of $810. This totals $33,660. If you sell the car for $17,500 after 3 years, your net cost is $16,160. This is $3,660 more than buying outright, which is the interest you've paid for the convenience of spreading the cost. You own the car at the end, which is a big plus for many, but it is the most expensive way to finance ownership over this specific term if you then sell. The monthly payments are also the highest. Then we have leasing. An initial payment of $4,500 followed by 36 monthly payments of $345 gives a total spend of $16,920. At the end you hand the car back and have nothing, so the cost for 3 years of motoring is $16,920. This is more expensive than the net cost of buying outright and selling, but you haven't had $30,000 tied up. For PCP, if you hand the car back, you've spent the $4,500 deposit plus 36 payments of $453, totaling $20,808. This is the most expensive option if your intention is simply to use the car for 3 years and then return it compared to leasing. Beyond the showroom shine practicalities and perils. The numbers are one thing, but choosing how to get your next car involves more than just a financial calculation. There are psychological factors, practical considerations, and potential pitfalls to be aware of with each method. The idea of ownership, for instance, is a big one for many people. Buying outright or using hire purchase leads to you legally owning the car. You can do what you like with it, keep it as long as you want, and there's a certain pride in that. With leasing, you never own it, and with PCP, you only own it if you make that final balloon payment, which many don't. Monthly payments also play a huge role in people's decisions. Leasing and PCP generally offer lower monthly payments than car loan because you're not paying off the full value of the car over the term. This can make a more expensive car seem more affordable on a month-by-month basis. However, it's crucial to look at the total cost over the agreement. Lower monthlies can sometimes mask a higher overall expense, especially if there are large initial or final payments, Or if interest rates are working against you in a less obvious way, depreciation is the silent killer of car values, and how you finance can affect how much you feel its sting. With leasing, your payments are directly based on the expected depreciation. With PCP, your payments cover depreciation down to the GFV. If you buy outright or with car loan, you bear the full brunt of depreciation yourself, though you also benefit if the car holds its value better than expected. Maintenance is another factor. New cars under lease or PCP are usually under warranty, minimizing unexpected bills. Older cars owned outright or post-car loan will eventually incur more maintenance costs. Then there are the restrictions. Leasing and PCP deals almost always come with mileage limits. Exceed these, and you'll face penalty charges, which can be quite steep. The car also needs to be returned in good condition, adhering to fair wear and tear guidelines. Dings, scratches, or interior damage can lead to expensive repair bills at the end of the contract. These aren't usually concerns if you own the car outright, as its condition primarily affects its resale value, which you control. Always read the small print very, very carefully. Finding your fit, which route suits your road ahead. So after all that, which option is best? Well, like choosing between a V8 muscle car and a nimble little hatchback, there's no single right answer for everyone. It really depends on your individual circumstances, your driving habits, your financial situation, and what you prioritize in a car ownership experience. The key is to understand the pros and cons of each method and match them to your own needs. Let's try and paint a picture of who might suit each option best, using our Honda Accord considerations. If you have the cash available, don't like debt, and plan to keep the car for a long time, well beyond 3 years, then buying outright can be very appealing. You avoid all interest charges, and while you take the initial depreciation hit over many years of ownership, the average annual cost can be low. It's simple, and the car is truly yours. Similarly, higher purchase is good if you want to own the car, but need to spread the cost. The higher monthly payments build ownership, and at the end, it's yours, making it suitable for long-term keepers. Leasing, on the other hand, is often perfect for those who love driving a new car every 2 or 3 years and don't want the hassle of selling it. If you can stay within the mileage limits and keep the car in good condition, it offers predictable, often lower monthly costs for a brand new vehicle under warranty. You never own it, but you always have that new car feeling. It's a strong contender if you value low monthly outgoings and minimal fuss over ultimate ownership, and the total cost can be very competitive for short-term use. Ultimately, assess your budget, how long you keep cars, your annual mileage, and how important ownership is to you. Then, you can make the smart choice.